essentially means is that they are, they also do digital, but they also do mainline. So most of the ads that you've grown up watching, and I'm talking about, when TV ads were a thing, because they still are, maybe not to us relevant as much, but they still are. It's all executed by these bigger agencies. So, for example, the ads that you really like of Vodafone Zuzus from the Times, and from, of Dove, redefining beauty, and Cadbury's, and all of these major chunks of campaigns, these major TVC-led campaigns are done by these bigger agencies. So if you're somebody who is very interested in, TVC making, storytelling in a very, audiovisual format, then I would suggest you to join a bigger agency, because you get to play a lot with your creativity, from, TVC creation to even a digital campaign. Now let's come to, agencies that also do this. Well, they are out there and they do a lot of these, but the brands that they offer might be a little different. The brands that they might have would be, an extension, like, for example, Asian Paints. Asian Paints, a national digital campaign would be done by somebody else versus done, a full-fledged campaign done by somebody else. So this happens. There are many, should not just only be about the agency, it should also be about the kind of brands that they have. Do those brands excite you? Like somebody said Johnson & Johnson. Do you know which agency does that? And if you think you like their advertising, that means that, you want to be an agency that sort of executes. So you need to do that, a little bit of a homework, to understand that if you have, let's say, 5 dream brands to work for, like, maybe let's say Zomato, Netflix, Swiggy, or, all these bigger top of the, where are they operating this? Is this from an ad agency? Is this a PR stunt? Is it a digital agency doing it, or what? So from whatever you try and want to do and aspire, your base should be very strong of where you want to go and how you want to go. And to understand that, I will take you ahead in this session. So let's go ahead. Naman, could you change the slide?
Yes, ma'am, just a second.
So the first step that comes in out of many other steps is resume making. And we all struggle with kya template acha hai, and kisi ke paas aisa ek acha template hai. That's not how it works. Please move to the next slide. So what you need to make a resume, all right? And let's also talk about difference between resume and CV a little later. But let's talk about what is a resume and why do you need it and why should that be your starting point. So a lot of times you may have come across opportunities that require you to have a certain, persona. So a one-size-fits-all resume in today's day not necessarily works. So in case you are, still evaluating your options from going to a client side versus going to an agency side, you might want to make your language, your content, your aesthetic of the resume in a certain form. And how do you do that? So the content, so let's say your resume is your advertising. It is your ad, like a flyer going to somebody's mailbox, all right? So what would you do if you had to make an ad? So basically resume is just your own ad. It's literally doing that. So your own ad needs to have some solid mal masala content, right? Which means that you should have done something, and by that will also be covered in the ahead of the sessions of what all you can do. That should be your resume. It shouldn't just be an objective tick mark copy paste from somebody else, because that person is not you and you are not that person. So that should be unique to you. Your design and aesthetic should talk about you in the resume. For example, if you are applying for a graphic designing position, your resume should have elements that capture your sense and sensibilities of design, right? Um, and honestly, it's not that difficult, and everybody loves, pleasing stuff to the eye. You would think that somebody is going to go in so many details to your resume. Nobody has the time. So what matters is the first impression that you're making with your resume. So your resume's aesthetic needs to click about who you are and what you are looking for. If your resume is too funky with a lot of loud fonts and designs, that will not really work in a marketing agency. That might still be considered in a digital wacky place. So you have to make your resume according to the place. So I think the one of the biggest mistake that I've seen people doing is just making that one resume which flies everywhere for 3 years and is barely with any incremental innovation. So make your resume in the way that you want to, in the places you would want to apply. So according to the decorum of that, you should make one. Now presentation. The flow and the way you present that resume talks about the clarity of your mind of why you would want a job. That needs to flow very clearly. Everyone, and I'm sure there would be trainings of a lot of sorts about what you need to write in your resume, like whether your education should be till your school or should it be till your college, or should you add your hobbies, or what kind of hobbies should you add. You will know that eventually when you start in the process of making a resume. But what really matters is the way that content is flowing. There should always be a start and end to what you're trying to say. And remember, again, that piece of document is your ad. So make sure that whatever needs to sell you in a place is covered in that piece of document. Now, where can you make these? Simply, Word doc has many templates. I'm sure you would have discovered and made yourself acquainted with it, but do that. Canva is interestingly awesome, and you don't need to really buy really join the premium account for the templates. You can just go online, find a template that vibes with you, and go for it. The other two online resume makers are Zetty and CV Maker. So these are also fairly very, very simple. You just need to put your information in, and they automatically help you with the design, and you can alter your resume according to that. Next slide, please. Now, $1 million question. Is resume and CV the same? And I think I did not know this back then, and that's why I've put it. If you already know, then awesome. But what essentially is the difference between the two? And I've seen people throwing this word around very often without realizing that sometimes when they send a resume, it's actually a CV, and when they send the CV, it is a resume. So it's very confusing. So let me just clear that out for you. Okay. So is resume and CV the same? Broadly, sort of. Narrowly, no. A resume is your one-pager document. It's very brief. So resume in French, I think, also means summary. So your resume is a summary of what you are, what you're doing, what you have written, and what you want and you expect out of that resume. Your CV, on the other hand, is a long format. Here is when you put your entire Janam Patri of sorts and write in detail whatever your learnings are, and what is it that you have, how have you come across the paths that you have chosen. So essentially, this is the difference between the two. And I would recommend you to stick to a resume format, because really nobody has the time to read a CV. And this applies to even people who are in designing and think that only a portfolio works. No, resume is like your flyer that will work for you. So resume is your short format, document that helps you cover every detail possible. Next slide, please. And you guys can interrupt if you guys have questions, because by the end of it, we might forget. So in case you have any questions now, because now I'm starting the other part of it, please shoot.
Shubhita, go
nothing
ahead.
practice.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So starting to the next part of this session is going to talk about apply कैसे करूं? मुझे पता है resume भी मैं बना लूंगा because you know I have friends to help me out with it. But how do I apply for a job or an internship or take a
Shubhita, your voice is not audible. Shubhita,
freelancing gig? Go ahead, please. Has it not moved for me? Better now? Is it any better, sir?
yes, ma'am. Now we can hear you.
Is it better now?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Awesome, great. So yeah, please move the slide, Naman.
Yeah, ma'am.
All right. So I'm assuming, and there would be more, but from what I have understood from people I speak your age, are certain of these questions. All right. Should you start in a bigger agency or a smaller agency? Are free internships okay? How much exposure is enough exposure? How do I apply? Where do I apply? Does freelancing mean better money? How much stipend and salary should I expect? So let's go through it one by one. And in case you have any questions, you all can raise your hands and ask in the process. All right. So should you start small or big? Now, this is something that is very subjective about what your aspirational job is like. Okay. For example, I knew that Ogilvy is my dream job because, of course, it's Ogilvy. I mean, there are no questions why should it be your dream job. But I did not know if that is the best way to start because sometimes it's important to know that in smaller agencies how things work so that you can decide whether that is the type of um, work culture that you want. So for me, what helped was to move before moving to a bigger agency, and that is just my personal life story and recommendation, that it's nicer to start with a smaller agency, and I'll tell you why. So when I was in college, I did a lot of internships, and there are so many now that they can't fit in my resume. So I made sure that I exploited every place possible for an internship, and I started working really early. Okay. And what I did was that I went to these smaller places where there are brands that are big, but the work, the system that works is smaller. What that makes you learn is how an advertising agency functions in a very small glimpse. It makes you understand that whether you are willing to be in this space, one. Second, it helps you understand the different kind of struggles and challenges that an ad agency faces. Third, it helps you understand and pick and choose what is your calling out of all the departments, because the lines are very blurred between an account management, creative, and planning in a smaller agency. And that makes you really, really focused and at least helps you trim down and filter down to what it is that excites you and you like out of this. And it hurts nobody because, if in case that has not worked out and it is in your resume, it's win-win because you have experienced something you can put there, and in case it has not worked out, it's okay because that was not your dream agency, and you're not feeling hurt about being a part of it and not liking it. All right. So that is my recommendation, but again, to each its own. But a bigger agency certainly gives you a lot of other pros. It helps you brand yourself in a certain way. It helps you understand the larger market and player, and applies to people who are really nerds like me. I mean, I would do anything to know what happens in the bigger ball game, right? So it makes you understand the larger picture a little better. And there's a sense of pride associated to it when you're in it, and the responsibility you feel towards everything increases. The social responsibility and the responsibility of carrying yourself in a certain way. So it shapes you a lot as a person while you are in your professional journey. And bigger agencies also give you an access to networking that is a little limited in smaller agencies. So should you start big or small? Recommendation of sorts to start small and pave your way big. So it could be start small for internships, but if you want a proper job and you're convinced that this is what you want to do, then go to a bigger player, because you don't want to be looked as someone who does not know what they know and what they want to do. So, these smaller agencies sort of prepare you and mold you in a certain way. So when you are going to a bigger place, you aren't feeling lost. You don't feel like, what are these jargons thrown at me, and what is this brief, what that does not really happen. So you're prepared. So that is my recommendation. Are free internships okay? Yes, they are okay till a certain age and time, and shouldn't be something which is completely exploiting. Your internship should be something that has helped you, and it could be of anything. Even if you have worked with, because today's life is more digital, if you have worked with even your friend who helps somebody make content, it is, consider that as an internship. Ask for a letter, ask for a sort of documentation which says that you've done something like that. It's okay to have free internships even at bigger places, because you will never really get money. Like Ogilvy does not pay interns, but it gives you a lot more valuable than money, right? On the other hand, Lolintas has an internship program which pays you, but also helps you with molding yourself in a certain way. So you need to find out where and what kind of places will give you your end goal. So like you have to make step by step and division of what is it that you want to do, and when in life do you want to achieve that, and accordingly time yourself with your internships in this form. How much exposure is enough? Exposure, it's never enough. Even if I am 50 years later down the line, I will still be seeking exposure from different places. So that's never enough. So never say that, I've got enough exposure now and now I really need to get into an ad agency. So remove that thought. Exposure is always going to be there. Networking is always going to be there. It's just devoid of that. How do I apply? We will cover that in the next few slides. And where do I apply also will be covered in the next few slides. Does freelancing mean better money? It is faster money for sure, but it is not a sustainable option just after college. And I mean, people could argue on this, but I think I have a very strong point here. And this is not to negate any of the success stories that have happened with people freelancing before. But what I genuinely believe is that till you haven't really worked in a system which makes you understand how this world really works, you wouldn't know exactly whether you are doing the right thing as a freelancer. And that's the reason why there are so many, and but very few get picked up by the bigger clients. So it really helps if you are talented to make sure you've worked somewhere in a minimal, even for 3 months, even if that is, or 6 months, to validate your information and knowledge with what you've studied versus what you have experienced, and then apply it in your freelancing life. How much stipend and salary should I expect? Stipend, it's better if you don't expect. If you get it, it's great. Salary, honestly, and this is the harsh truth, that many ad agencies are not as well paying as, let's say, your marketing agencies would be. So when you are looking at how you want to move around with your financial decisions when you are joining in a workplace, you need to really make sure of, is that your point of concern? If yes, then accordingly choose your places. because there would be a time when you have chosen something maybe is not that as well paying, and it then starts demotivating you and starts questioning your passion whether you really want to do this. So it's better to know, like, let's say in 3 years down the line, is money that important for you, or is your experience that important for you, and then evaluate your options. Next slide, please. All right, sorry, there's a message in the chat box, I think. 1 second. Hi Digvijay, you are a freelancer. Awesome. What do you do?
Brand promotion, marketing, and
There's a lot of disturbance in
I
your
am after
speech.
digital Instagram. So like that.
I think
Uh,
he meant to say he is in brand promotion, marketing, and digitally he is marketing it.
that's good. But I mean, is that your full-time gig, or I mean, as a freelancer, are you doing that for just some friend, or is that a professional thing? Like, how are you doing that?
It's full time, ma'am. It's full time, ma'am.
Sorry?
It's his
Full
full
time.
time job.
Oh, that's amazing. What made you choose that?
First, I was started 1.5 year before, and so, ma'am, my voice is coming.
Yeah, it's audible. Please continue.
I was studying 1.5 year before. First, I was going for pamphlet distribution. So I thought ये कैसे हुआ? So I तो मैं ये करते गया so I get into one company Sadhguru Advertising. So वहाँ पे मैंने join किया and work with them almost 1.5 year. So I gained knowledge about brand marketing, mail कैसे करने का client को, how to get the client, how to convince the client. फिर उसके बाद में I get into Facebook, Instagram. So I do actors and do ये होते हैं उनको. So I have almost 56 digital creator who work for me. And recently I gave one my creator Lakme brand promotion. So yeah, it's up to the mark right now.
That's amazing, and that's brilliant that you're doing that for your age. I mean, that's amazing. But again, learning to take from here is the fact that he did work before to understand how it works, and then he took up freelancing, which is just the most safest thing to do. Thank you so much for contributing. Let's proceed. So, apply kaise karu is the biggest question I feel, and kidhar karu, because we all know that LinkedIn is a place to go and apply, but how really should you do that, and where all should you do that? Because LinkedIn is just not the only place. There are a lot of forms of networking to reach to your desired brand or company that you want to work. So let's move in the slide ahead, and I will take you through some of them that I have personally used. So honestly, apply kaise karu comes with the whole fact that you can apply kidhar bhi, kaise bhi, kabhi bhi. The world is your job portal. Like, you never know if your friend can help you with a job, or you never know if your I don't know, your friend's mother or sister of sorts can help you. So it's just everywhere. You can, the whole world is an opportunity to find a job. So keep your eyes open, ears open, always, to know what is happening. Follow the kind of people on your Instagram that are not just influencers, but I'm not talking about are not just like your big influencers, but they're also people with voice who can be source of credible information for your journey of shaping your advertising life. And I'll talk about that as well as we proceed. But right now, covering the other few topics. So LinkedIn, we all know. I'm not going to deep dive, but I will deep dive on how and what you need to do on LinkedIn ahead. On Instagram, there is this very cool page called Cool Kanya, and this is for all women students, I mean girl students, female students out there, and I mean, of course, guys can also follow that because it helps you get leads. But largely, this page revolves and talks and educates you to the different opportunities that are available, different job openings, different kind of job roles that are available for women in the industry, right from freshers till you're growing up the ladder. So I think it's a one-shot place, and even the admins are very cool, they're very responsive, and it really, like, I mean, I have tried that for a few friends and it has really worked, with all the credible information that they put of the kind of places that are looking out for people to join them. So definitely go now, in case you will forget later. Go now to Instagram and follow these few pages if you haven't, which is Cool Kanya, Social Samosa, we all know, I'm assuming. Indian Creative Women. This is again a women-led, platform where you will find all the kind of creative women in the field of advertising and media talking about their journey, and it's a very cool place to reach out to them personally, even on their social media handles, and be heard in case you have a point of view, in case you have a query. They are very happy to resolve that for you. So it's a nicer place to meet people from the bigger places in order to make your networking strong, and of course look out for the job opportunities they have over there. Then agency FAQs, I cannot not emphasize on the fact that agency FAQs, brand equity are going to be your Bible. Even media exchange for media. So sorry. All these places were and still are my source of information to go to. Like for your normal, politics and news, you would possibly go to your other bigger players, NDTV, Times of India, whichever your ideology is and what you follow. But for advertising, it's super important to be a part of these, to put your time at least 10-20 minutes in the day scrolling through these portals, because you will know all the details and gossips of everything, or even the new developments in the market, in the whole advertising, media, PR, marketing, branding, strategy, all of that area in that one place. And the best thing is that you will know of people, you will know of the moves in the industry, and it will help you sharpen what you want, how you want it, and to help you make conversations with people. Like, okay, again, covering that ahead, I don't want to give it all right away. So let's move ahead. अब अप्लाई तो कर लिया, चलो रेज्यूमे बना लिया मैंने, लिंक्डइन में देख लिया जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी है, कोई तो एक एचआर ने पोस्ट किया था, मैंने ऐड भी कर लिया अपना network में, and now I have applied for the job. But now what? That's your dead end? No. Here is where your real personality game comes in the picture. All right. Please proceed. Yeah. So now there are 3 important things which you should know even when you're making your resume, and or after application and sending your resume are asked by the HRs of of wherever you applied, or if you have reached out to, let's say, somebody very cool on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and have realized that you really think that they are doing kick-ass stuff, but how do you reach out to them, and what do you say? What is it about you that you need to know and say? So interview questions will really vary in your life from wherever you go, to every job profile. But there are certain things that are non-negligible, which will stay constant even 10 years down the line. All right. And that is largely about you, because whenever you are going for a job, or whenever you are presenting yourself out for a opportunity, you are putting yourself out because of certain things about yourself, right? So that's what you need to know. So you need to be your best version, and that will happen with years. But you need to remember, I mean, these are some existential life questions, but who are you? Are you a left brain person, right brain person? Who are you? Like, what is it about you? Who are you? That's the biggest question you need to ask. Write it down if you want, because we often forget the most important question to prep for, which is the question called about me. Tell me something about yourself. I see somebody raising hand. If they want to unmute and
Hi, Mom.
hi.
I asked you the same question in the chat box. Like
Oh,
when
I'm so sorry, I didn't see
HR
that.
asks you to describe yourself, who are you? What is the reply he or she expects? Because when you ask a question to someone, like you obviously have something built up in your mind about the answer.
Right.
So, Malab, if I want to crack an interview and the first question is, who are you? On what aspects should I describe myself?
Okay. So, see, about me is the most important, like I mentioned, and what you need to add there is literally about you. So, who are you? Let's say you are, you talk about your name. I mean, they obviously know your name, but you start with introducing yourself. You are a student of Thakur College as of today, specializing in whichever specialization you take. This is your one line of who you are at this point, right? Next is, what do you do? Now that you've mentioned you are a student in advertising, you are not just a student, right? You would be doing certain more things in your life which define you, because your education is not just what defines you. So let's say you are keen about photography, because that's very relevant to your field. So what you would talk about is, let's say I am a student and I really like photography. So I do photography in my free time on weekends and shoot for, let's say, a cool Instagram brand that I know. All right. Why do you do what you do? Now, I said that I like photography, but why do I like it? So here I'm going to break it down and tell that person, because why they like something is very unique, right? Now, you might like photography because it gives you, it's your way of expression. It's your channel. It's your way of channelizing what you want to show the world through your lens, for example. That is why you do what you do. So these questions are very important. And when you ask that to yourself, you will know the answer. Now you would say that, so very interestingly, I pondered upon photography, when I was experimenting for, let's say, a project in BMM, and I took up something from the team, it was my job to collect photos for this particular project. And that's when I decided that, oh my God, I really enjoy doing this. And, one day I would want to make a career out of it. So your eureka moment of when you have liked to do something about what you are doing is what you say. And how did you learn? So now I'm sure there are like many lectures that you would have, been a part of in BMM, but there are also skills that you will develop, let's say, from observing people online or finding some tutorials on YouTube. So how did you go about it? And that explains a lot about the efforts that you have taken. Let's say, done a course or a short-term thing somewhere outside. You mentioned that. So you package this information. It's okay if you say one point open each, nothing's going to go. But essentially, these are the things you should mention to describe yourself. So here is when you would know about me. And then you can conclude by saying that I also like, let's say, cooking and gardening and listening to music. Your package is complete. This is what you are. You have sold your unique selling proposition to that HR or to whoever you are introducing yourself. I see one more hand up, Ankita, I think. Yeah, Ankita.
Ma'am, I think this is pretty generic as a question, but quality over quantity is any day good, right? Because if I know 10 things and I say them like I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this, everything, but like I think me knowing one thing at its best is better any day, right?
So if you say to enter a certain place, yes, but it is so. I'll tell you one thing about media and in this industry. The more you know about things, the better. If you're a jack of all, you know of everything, but you aren't an expertise in one, it's okay, because that shows that you know a lot. But if you are, let's say, applying to a photography, to a photographer for photography, I'm just saying that because it's easy to understand, then you're only going to talk about photography, right? If you're applying in a digital marketing space, you'll say that I know everything, but this one thing is my, ball game. So wherever you are applying and whoever you're talking to, keeping that in mind, you place that one aspect of yours that is the most important aspect that is required for that job and for you, right? You get it? Is that making sense?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I personally am a person who is a jack of all and king of none, sadly. So
That's
I was
okay. So if you like 10 things, out of which, if you're applying for a job, there will be that one skill which has an upper hand, right? I mean, let's say if you're applying for a copywriter's job, you would like everything possible, from dancing to writing to everything. But here, writing is what that is important for you to play your game up. Correct? So you will play that game up, and you will, in the background, in your conversation, mention that I also like this. Like what I said was that in the conclusion, you conclude that you are a resourceful person. You know so much, but this is what I like, and this is why I'm applying. This is my submission to you. Thank you. That's how you pledge yourself out there. I see one more hand up. Please shoot.
Good morning, ma'am. Runika here.
Afternoon, though. Yes, tell me.
It's 11:53 only. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So my question is like, because of this COVID, like I was not able to come to Mumbai and explore even my subjects, like different type of subjects practically. So luckily our college gave us a short course to do, like certificate course. So I applied for digital marketing. But it's like I've done so much of internship with them, and like, I kind of got bored with it. Like, so because of lack of exploring things right now, I'm really confused. Like, where should I, like, put my game ahead? Like, what should I do?
Got it. Runika, right?
Yeah.
So what is the next favorite thing that you like about your subjects or about this entire space, about this industry? What is the second favorite thing?
Is this like, the thing is, I've not explored it practically, like, see.
It's okay. From the vibe and feel of it, just, even if it looks cool to you, what is it that looks cool to
you? Doing something like, leading a group or something like that, some management skills, stuff like that. Like, I'm more interested towards that.
Okay, so here is your fight between digital marketing or no digital marketing, or a fight between a junior versus getting a leadership role? What is it?
It's neither. Like, it's like I just took digital marketing because the course which I like that course much, the list which was given to me. Just randomly for credits, I took that digital marketing.
Okay.
And then after doing that, like with me, it's like I get bored easily with things. So
that's why you are in BMM. That's exactly why you are in BMM. Because it gives you an opportunity to explore so much. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I would suggest what you could do is, getting a team and leadership roles, like, managing people, managing something, and, being your own boss at something is something that I understand. Even I have been through that. But you need to condition your mind in a certain way at this point of time to get a little bit more experience of something outside digital marketing. You could try, an agency which is traditional of sorts, because right now everybody is moving to digital, but how advertising has evolved is from the traditional agencies. So you never know if you find your calling there, and try 2-3 things. It's okay. Get bored. It's fine. You don't have anything to lose at this point of time. You are still an explorer. Okay. Just apply anywhere else. And trust me, between 3-4 options, I mean, very simply put, do you stick around just, one dish your entire life? No, one restaurant? No. You go to 2-3 places, and then you decide, okay, this is where I like things from. So it's okay. Do more things. And with due course of time, you will develop more of an expertise about something, and you will start falling more into, the discipline of doing it, which will not allow you to get that easily bored. If I think that should help. Or if not, you can always reach out to me even 6 months later and ask if I could help you in a different way.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Sure. Should we move ahead and then
Yes.
come back to some questions?
Okay, let's move ahead and then come back to questions.
Yeah. So now the second, so this was to prep to be your best version. So that is basically packaging yourself. Second, don't be a creep, don't ghost. Very important. And as a girl, I would say that is even more important for everybody, including all genders, to realize that talking something, which is very grammatically incorrect, or the way you're approaching so basically, let's say that you have a Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, or whatever profile. You would make it in a certain way, right? You would make sure that your pictures are talking a lot about yourself and giving a full first impression. And then if somebody matches with you, there is a way you initiate that conversation. You wouldn't say the most ridiculously cheesy line to start the conversation. You would say something which gives you a reply back, right? It's the same thing even on LinkedIn or anywhere possible. And I think, how as much as thoughts that we put in chasing a girl or a boy and getting a high from them is exactly the chase and the rush and the fight you should keep to find a job also. So let's say how you reach out to an HR or to anyone should be a simple hi, simple hello, and talk very relevant information. The moment you are talking to the point, you'll get a reply on the point. If you're talking
Akshay, mute yourself. Yeah. Shubhita, you can unmute yourself.
hi, I think I got dropped off. So sorry.
No issue.
Yes, let's go ahead. So yeah, I was explaining about how to not be a creep while you are to the people. It's okay, but get that ratified to a friend and ask for an opinion if this is sounding right. Just like you would ask your friend before sending a risky text to your, to the person you're dating. It is as important, and the more you put the thoughts into it, the more you will start refining it. So don't be a creep. And in case somebody has reached out to you with an opportunity you don't like and you're getting bored, or you're not feeling good about it, don't ghost. Get a closure, because you never know how that person is going to help you, or if there's any other way that you're going to cross paths with them eventually in life.
Ma'am, your audio is laggy again. I think we can't hear you clearly.
I'm so sorry. Is this better?
Yeah, ma'am, it's perfect.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for being patient. Yes. So the third point. Now, once you have, let's say, said a hi to somebody and you feel that they might, be responsive to you, to sustain that conversation, because it's not a one time, it's not like, you would know an HR for once and then you're never going to speak with her again, because you never know, you might. And to sustain a conversation, you need to know certain things to talk to sustain the conversation. So just like you like soaking in all the gossip of your friends and of the, of the world, it's important that you soak in all the information, like I mentioned, from places like agency FAQs, Instagram. Like, for example, Zomato did a brilliant brand collaboration on the Jalebi Baby song. These are important for you to, know, so that you can talk about them and have perspective conversations with people. And this is not with HR, but, this is with people you will talk beyond that. This is with people you will talk, let's say let's say you and me talking, some other time. Why would I talk to you? I would talk to you because you are offering a perspective which I might think is interesting, and that will only come when you know what is happening in the world outside. All right. Let's move ahead. Very important again. When we were in BMM back then, and social media was still not, I mean, it was there, but it wasn't as resourceful as today. We would only speak to our seniors and maybe to the people DKD sir knows and the people who come for lectures to make our network, or Cortokino and Polaris and all the other fests of the world. Those were our podiums to make contacts and network. Most of the contacts that I have made in my life are because of these. But today the ball game is a little different. And also, given the pandemic that we are in, and we are not going out and interacting with people, on day-to-day basis like we would have done initially, it's very, very important of the way now that you network. All right. Please move. One thing that is very important to remember for your lifetime is that even if you are in digital photography, production, video editing, copywriting, an influencer yourself or whatever, the most important thing is people management. You will never really run out of a good opportunity if you have made yourself resourceful by talking to people, and managing the way you talk to them and the way, you keep them in your circle. Because the way you talk, the way you reciprocate, the way you've reached out, and for whatever reason that you've reached out is clear and out, you will be remembered in a certain way. Like today, I still remember from the last session, if somebody had asked me a question and networked still with me on Twitter and LinkedIn, I will remember them. So you need to remember that people management is your to-go skill that you need to develop. And by that, people management is very broad, but I'm largely talking about being resourceful. If you are like 100 students in this class, out of which, let's say 10 of them would, be extremely popular with something, be in their circle, see what they're doing, talk to people who will help you. Like, let's say, and it's okay if you don't know how to talk to them, you will understand. Start from basic interactions on their social media, follow them, make them feel good about the work that they're doing. Drop a simple, sweet compliment to somebody on their comments if you've really liked their content, or on their DMs. Just don't creep them out. Do it in correct variation. Don't overdo it, don't less do it, and don't expect that they will reply. But if they do, then rejoice that and maintain and sustain that conversation. And that is why you need to know the industry and updates. That's why you need to know who you are, what you are, because you need to play your card very carefully with these bigger people that you would be eventually, popular people that you would be talking to. And I mean, in my life, there have been so many coincidences. I cannot even, like, they are lesser if I count on my fingers, about the people who I did not, bond well initially in college, or who I did not think highly of in college, but are doing exceptionally great now. And in whatever format they are back in my life because of the professional relatability that we share. Like some vendors or some people who have, different paths, but are going to be my resource for something. So it's very important you be good with everybody, maintain your decorum with people, don't trash talk, don't bitch talk, don't behave like, know it all. Just be open to learning and talking with people, and talking with people will really lead you. And talk with people, but sustain talking with people. Like I will emphasize this time and again. Till today, I and DKT sir talk with relevancy, and we have sustained the bond even after I don't know how many years of me leaving college. So that is important, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. Otherwise, if I wasn't connected with the group, if I wasn't reunited and talking with people, I wouldn't be here. So it's important. You never know where that will lead you. Let's move ahead. Personal branding. Here and now, everybody, even if you're scrolling social media right now and not listening to this lecture and really care about what you want to do, please, please, please pay attention here. Remember, always, you are a brand and a product in your own self. All right. Digvijay, if your hands up, I will come back to you after this for sure. Just a second. Yes, agree. You need to keep the contact safe. Please don't keep changing your numbers and never informing people. And always synchronize your contacts, even if you're moving from an Android to an iOS, or even if it's as simple as that. Just always do that. Keep